hype in the investment cycle in the renewable space in Romania. I'd like to ask them, each of them, what were the learnings, what were the drivers, what made them be extremely successful. And then we'll go through another round of sort of interventions to try to look ahead where the trends are, where Romania stands, and what can we do further to even grow and obviously seize this momentum that we have right now. I don't think I've ever seen in my 20 plus years of working in the energy space such a hype, such big amounts of investments in all of the sectors. Of course, the context is international, but it's also local. And in so many areas where we just see from renewables, nuclear, gas, as it was mentioned. So that meant a lot of minds put together, a lot of effort, a lot of good work. I'd like to start. I'm going to start with Alexandru Chiriță, CEO Electrica, as one of the most successful and representative, truly Romanian companies listed on stock exchange in Romania and the UK, who has undergone a amazing transformation and amazing growth. And I'd like to ask Alex, how have you done it, and how what are the ingredients? What was what were the drivers and the success stories that you'd like to share here in London with the community of investors?
Thank you, and first, thank you for the invitation. It's always good to be back in London, and it's always a pleasure to be part of your events. I'll use a cliche. It's not me, it's them.
The team.
It's the team. I found a very, very optimistic and well-driven team in Electrica in a bad moment. But it was just that, a bad moment. And we took it and turned it around in one of the, let's say, a good successful story to pick up a company that was almost in the brink of bankruptcy, not really there, but close to that. And now it's on the high rise. As what happened in the last few years, I'm always an optimist. So I really think we can do more. We learned a lot. We learned that resilience was the word to use in 2022, 3 and 4. And then we switched to 25 and now 26 to a new word, which is speed. Now we think speed is more important than anything else. Of course, we are already resilient, so it doesn't really matter anymore. We can withstand any change, and we have a lot of changes. But if we bring up to have a very good momentum, we can actually do some great investments. And these investments are clearly supported by investors. We've seen it last year. We're going to repeat the green bond issuance, which is actually a great, good success, not only for Electrica, but for Romania. And this year, we still have the approval in principle by the ministry and the other shareholders to go around for another take for 1 billion. It remains to be seen what's going to happen in the second quarter and the third. But I think everything should go at pace. It's a building year. It's something that we are going to prove that we will maintain our word and we will deliver on the promises. We can expand. I think there is much more room. The team is growing. And this is good. It's mainly growing with young people, which I find it very helpful. They come with time. You get to know one another. You get to, let's say, accommodate or be more comfortable. when you get new people in the team and they're very young, they bring a good vibe and they keep you, let's say, young in the company with good ideas. And we have a couple of young people that joined the team later last year, and they're doing great. And we're glad to have them with us. So, if you want me to complete more.
No, that's absolutely amazing. I think the green bond issue is a testament that the market trusts your vision and also the execution, as you said. So, what are you going to do with the 1 billion? What are the yeah, exactly.
I don't think that's a problem. As you can see,
I know, but it's more like
we can.
What are you putting your bets on? But more seriously, I know that you're going to transformation. You're emphasizing a lot the digitalization, the optimization of cycles. Of course, grid is a big theme now in Romania. All of the grids. So we're just a sort of a broad idea where the new investments go in.
If you look at our, let's say, plans for 2030 and 2035, on the renewables, we have already surpassed the objective. We need to go back and, let's say, update our strategy. We have 1 gigawatt of renewables. I don't know if it's enough anymore. And we have 1 gigawatt hour of batteries. Then we have the grid, which means roughly 1.5 billion in the next 10 years, which is not enough. We need probably twice or three times more than that. So the allocation of the money shouldn't be a problem. We can, let's say, most likely, as it is today, in order to reach or surpass the objective that we have for 2030, we will put it into the green energy production part. We still have a lot of allocations to be done. The 500 million euro that we took last year are enough only for, let's say, half of the objective. We still need to finance the other half. And I'm sure there will be opportunity for us to expand. And what does that mean? It means that we look on all the areas of business that we have, both on the supply, both on the production side and the distribution, to see that if there are opportunities, that makes sense for us. So we can expand, but we will expand only if it makes sense and if it will bring back a return on investment accordingly to what's happening on the market. Because the market is moving really fast, so we need to keep pace. We're looking on Moldova also. We announced it fairly last year. I think it's a good time, although the regional troubles haven't cooled down. We are still confident that they will, and for sure there will be the need for energy for the region. And with other partners, I think we can actually be one of the biggest players in this region and help Romania to be an energetic hub as it is.
Thank you very much. And obviously, lots to do with the money, and a good place to be in London for attracting capital and partners for so many things that you look to do. I'm going to move along to Alastair. Rezolv Energy is one of the unicorns, I call them, in the renewable space in Romania. 2 gigawatts of renewables, greenfield investments, amazing pace in less than 5 years, right? 4 years? Yeah, 3 actually, yes. But in 3 years, amazing amount of work and progress and money and effort. And I would like to ask you to share with our audience what do you think contributed to your amazing success, and what were the drivers for investing so much in Romania? Please.
Thanks, Varinia. I'm actually coming up in August to my 20th anniversary of moving to Prague in Central Europe, not Romania. And I've been investing in renewables since 2007 and went through the first wave, which was a European wave. There were lots of obstacles later in the late teens, so to speak. But then in 2021, teamed up with Actis, who's one of the largest infrastructure investors for transition energy. They've typically invested in emerging markets, and us being in Central and Southeastern Europe doesn't mean it's an emerging market. It means that there is a lot of opportunity. There's also quite heavily carbon grids, so investing in energy transition in those regions can make if you like, a bigger impact than it might do, say, in Western Europe. We targeted or chose to invest in Romania because it's the second largest country in the region. It's also a country that is actually very attractive to international investors, primarily around stability, around the regulations for renewables, the regulation for your grid have been in place for a very long time. They're actually very, very stable. There's actually a sort of a mechanism that developers and investors can rely on when it comes to making investments. They can always move a little bit quicker. They always do. But I don't know anybody who's actually any quicker than Romania in that sense. Everybody has a lot of inertia to overcome when you're looking at very, very large infrastructure projects. What we have particularly liked is the interaction between the regulator and the TSO, Electrica. There's a continual dialogue around making sure that the mechanisms, the regulations are actually followed, and that has been particularly important in the last couple of years, and I think that has led to a lot of the acceleration of investment into renewables, but probably also through battery storage and other energy sectors. There still needs to be investment in the grid. It is a challenge when so much volume is coming on, 5 gigawatts coming through on the CFD, of which Rezolv was the single largest recipient, nearly 1 gigawatt of wind and solar, 1 gigawatt of wind through 2 very large projects, and half a gigawatt, I should say, and half a gigawatt on a 1 gigawatt solar project. We have acquired and are delivering Europe's largest solar project. That's going to create its own challenges, but it is still a testament to the stable investment environment and the maturity of solar PV in the region. We are, for 2026, we have moved very quickly, as you pointed out. Our focus is on constructing the projects that we currently have in our portfolio. 2.3 gigawatts. That's a 2.3 billion euro investment. Okay, which has got is seeking 1.5 billion of debt. It's very easy to spend the money. I promise you, it's not spend, invest. Sorry, I've got some of my investors in the room. But the international banking community views Romania as a very stable place to invest, backed by obviously some significant foreign investment. Late last year, we got a new investor to come into Rezolv. Why do I think for this audience do I think that's important? It's important because they're one of the largest infrastructure investors in the world, and their investment in Rezolv is a testament to the sector, to renewables, and also considering we have an exposure of 2 gigawatts of solar in Romania. Our other large investment are in Bulgaria currently. That is a testament to the stability of the country, and also into the sector. So looking forward to a lot of hard work this year. There's 2 very large financings and procurements that are currently ongoing. One, as I say, is for the Dharma 1 gigawatt project, and a number of people around me are participating in that tender. And a number of lenders around me are participating in the financing of that. They're very, very important. And then that's followed by, on top of our 460 megawatt wind farm, which is one of Europe's largest onshore wind farms, certainly the largest with the latest technology. They are amazing machines. If you're ever around Bazau, you'll see them. The first phase of that project, 190 megawatts, is just coming on board now. And the second phase, supported by the CFD, 260 megawatts, is already in construction. So a lot going on in Rezolv at the moment.
And congratulations. I have to say, something that you haven't said, and if I may, I think Rezolv was really a market shaper. You've done also the first large virtual power purchase agreements in Romania that really led through others, and lots of premiership, let's say. It was also one of my first projects in the second wave of renewables that I've worked with, and it's again quite happy to see the tremendous progress and success. So thank you for the opportunity of working with you over the last years. Another great example of a similar story, if I may say, Cătălin Breban, co-founder of Aukera, Romania. Cătălin also has tremendous experience in previously having worked via global investment funds in Romania, in Romanian market, and then founding Aukera as an IPP company for, and also you put the bet on the Romanian market, and you've delivered, and you also have projects that have won under the CFD scheme, and please share with us your success story and the drivers, please.
Thank you for the invitation here, and it's a pleasure to be sharing the podium with such successful companies. I'd say we're still in the making, and I would say that the success is still, something that we're building every day. A bit about my story. I'm Romanian, but have been living in London actually for the past 20 years. I became an entrepreneur in 2012, so almost 14 years ago, when I founded a company in renewables focused on the UK market. I didn't know anything about renewables at the time, I have to confess, but I knew that infrastructure is something I wanted to do after the volatile great financial crisis. I saw the appeal of predictable and foreseeable cash flows, and that was a success. Infrastructure as a sector and renewables as a sector took off around that time, and we built a successful company. We exited that one in 2018 to an Asian utility in the 200 million exit, then joined Carlyle to raise a fund for Europe, and then 5 years ago I founded Aukera as a European IPP. We're present in 5 countries. Romania is a core country for us. Why the 5 country selections is where we wanted to. So we were present in the UK with projects, Romania, Germany, Italy, and Belgium. In all of these markets, we wanted to be able to build scale, to not be too late, to be an interesting market. And Romania was definitely ticking all the boxes, and I was very happy to build something in my home country. Fast forward 5 years, we are building. We're building what may be the largest battery project in Romania. It's a 250 megawatt project at Gura Ialomiței. It's a standalone battery. We have more in the pipeline would like to build. While we have everything, we're developing batteries, we're developing solar and wind. We do have a 3 gigawatt ready to build or almost ready to build pipeline and in construction in Romania. So it's a mature and big pipeline. I would say the capabilities we've built in terms of batteries are special. Why? Because I would say we built a team in the UK that has built batteries for the past 10 years. UK has been a pioneer, so interesting that we have this conversation in London, but UK has been a pioneer in batteries in Europe. It started 10 years ago, whereas most other countries, including big ones like Germany or Italy or Spain, are just starting or started maybe a year or two ago. So there's not enough experience, although I would say that gap, that 10-year or 8-year gap, will close much faster. Europe does need batteries, and I would say we came to Romania with the intention of bringing that sort of expertise, and we're building at scale. Last year, when we did the financial close of the first battery project in Romania, it has been a pretty unique financing of a large battery project. I would say that probably 2 years ago, what we've done in Romania wouldn't have been possible even in Germany or other countries. I think we brought a financing innovation to Romania. So it was a first of a kind type of financing that we've done, and we're very proud of it. And we want to do more. We're building, we plan to put another 2 projects into construction this year and hopefully more next year. So it's been a good story. Yes, you mentioned CFDs. We've been successful on the wind side. We've won 3 projects, 3 wind projects of 150 megawatts that are now ready to build. We have a solar project where we haven't been as successful. So it's been very competitive. On the other hand, I would say that I'd like to believe that Romania can make use of this opportunity, of this renewable opportunity, not as a sprint, but more of a marathon. I've seen my experience in the UK has been quite interesting because they've also, started with feed-in tariffs, with CFDs. And yes, at the beginning, in the early days, they were subsidizing, like everybody, the renewable sector. Now there's no longer the need. But every year there was a CFD tender or feed-in tariff, because they gave the predictability of a long-term horizon. It's been every year a cheaper price, which was benefiting the consumer. So if you can make this a marathon rather than a sprint, this shouldn't be a 2-3 year sort of big push and then again nothing. This can become a sustainable and more predictable and more sort of resilient way of building the energy security for Romania. I mean, renewables are still the fastest and the most economical sort of source of generation today. And if we create an environment of predictability, the cost of capital comes down, the price for the consumer comes down, and I think everybody benefits. We want to be competitive. We want to build cheap sources of electricity, of energy. That makes sense. I would say that the CFDs that have happened in Romania were great. It would be great if they could continue or something else can take the place. The PPAs are still, I would say, pretty rare and not easy. But overall, as Aukera, we've been very happy with our investment in Romania. It's a core country for us. We're building in other countries. Even today, we found out that we were successful in a CFD auction in the UK. We're already building to 50 megawatts, so we're going to add another a couple of 100 megawatts in the UK. We're building in Belgium. We're building in Germany, Italy. So Romania is a key country for us. Very proud of being able to do this there. So yeah, it's not easy, but nowhere it's easy. So.
But it's proved to be, as Alastair said, faster than in most other countries, and we see so many good examples that it's probably encouraging for the newcomers, let's say.
What is faster or easier, and I would say my colleagues in development will probably hate me for that. Development is easier. So I would say getting projects at scale, even with the difficulties of the grid, etc., can be done, and we've done it, and we have the project. And I don't want to say it's been a walk in the park, because it hasn't. But comparative to other countries, it's been easier. I think what is probably more difficult in other countries is the financing, where we have been successful, but I would say the effort is bigger than in other countries.
Right. Development has been, let's say, fairly easy, but now we're changing the paradigm for the grid access. So this is yet to be seen how it will unfold and how fast we can work, we can move on that. And since you said financing has been for a while a critical path, we had a lot of projects, hard to finance, difficult to find PPAs, also because of the energy crisis and the intervention on capping the prices for a while. It's been hard to find local PPAs, hence we had these virtual PPAs to aid in some fortunate cases. Let's move on to the banker side. Joel, EBRD has been again, I think a tremendous important pillar in giving the trust to the other banks and investors. EBRD has, I think, had a record year last year of the largest investments ever to Romania, 955 million euro so far. A lot of it was in sustainable projects, energy projects. And of course, very importantly, EBRD has also provided a lot of support to the Romanian authorities and the Ministry of Energy on the policy shaping and legislation, among which obviously the contracts for different scheme was one of the most well-known ones and successful, as we've heard, nearly 5 gigawatts of projects awarded in CFD. I wanted to ask how do you see Romania from your perspective, having worked on, financed many of these projects? What has made it, let's say, made the decision to support these projects?
Thanks a lot for having me, first of all.
Thank you.
Yeah, as you mentioned, so we had a record year in Romania last year. And a big part of that was the energy sector. And also the year before, we had quite a good year in the energy sector. But then if you look a bit further back, there was very little energy investment that we've done. And there was a couple of things that probably have changed since then. One is obviously, generally, renewables have become much more competitive. So they didn't need the subsidies as previously that created some of the issues. But also at the same time, we've spent time working with the authorities, which is part of our general policy work, where we have a program where we work with the countries that we operate in to work with the authorities and set up renewable auction schemes that are designed to encourage investment in renewables by offering form of government support, but recognizing that renewables are effectively cost competitive, but still need that long-term support in order to attract long-term financing. And so we've spent quite a time with the Romanian authorities on this work, because there was a lot of roadblocks, as you mentioned, regulation that prevented general PPAs, other investment. And so after having cleared a lot of those roadblocks, we then achieved those the launch of the auctions, which also shows kind of the commitment of the Romanian authorities to this, because effectively they have taken a pile of cash, effectively locked it up, which really shows their commitment to the sector now. And this has attracted, obviously from our side, kind of gave the comfort to then lend to projects and achieve bankable projects, but also to investors to signal, okay, this is a market where the authorities are listening to investors and are trying their best to clear whatever the roadblocks are. Maybe not all of them, but to achieve something that works. And I think this is then also shows that, for example, a lot of the financing that we've done this year are actually not CFD projects. So they're renewable projects, but not CFD, which shows that the whole CFD scheme, besides the 5 gigawatts being awarded, also had a much wider multiplier effect by attracting much more investment and just signaling, okay, this is a market where there's a lot of scale to invest and a lot of possibility to invest. And obviously, we continue engaging with the government on further activities in the sector. Obviously, it's in the end the government that needs to give the direction of whether there's more CFDs or which direction they take. But also, I think the shift is now that renewables have changed from a marginal source of electricity, where they could kind of have some of their extra advantages, to being actually the foundation of the energy sector now, which changes a bit the paradigm of how you look at the investment, and I think also requires a bit of a more holistic view now at renewables and renewable investments. But at the same time, I think this creates a lot of new opportunities for next year. So, for example, the storage element and batteries, I think 2 years ago, when the CFD was designed, that really wasn't at the forefront of most people's mind. But now actually seeing the capacity online or coming online, all the investment, the kind of renewable sector moving to the centerpiece of the sector, that actually creates more opportunities in other areas as well for further investments to actually further help the next wave of renewables. So overall, I think you mentioned the word hype, which gets me a bit worried as a banker, and I hope that it's just more than a hype, because actually this initial phase creates new phases for other investments, which again hopefully reinforces the general investability in the sector. So we hope for more to come, and we've almost reached the billion, so we have a bit of work to do to actually reach that number in the coming years, hopefully, with the help of the energy sector.
You're right. It's probably not a hype, as we heard. It's more like a long-term, a marathon. We also wrote that Energynomics in our last year event was about the maturity of the market and what is the next step in this normal cycle of maturing a market, and that means the whole ecosystem, the batteries, the grid, the flexibility services, and all of the services that come with a more mature market. So I'm sure that we will have more to talk about. I know that EBRD is also investing in supporting municipal energy projects and infrastructure, as well as I was wondering, do you also plan to invest in grids?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, generally, the grid is a key element. And from our side, it's part of our mandate to support the grid. And so from that perspective, in all the countries we operate in, that's one of the central functions to make sure that also the grid can operate. And wherever needed, also from our side, there's instruments available that we have to invest and support the investments in the grid. Yeah.
Thank you. Now that we've heard from on the development generation financing, let's hear from the services that come along, as I said, as a normal growth of the market and the demand for execution of all of these amazing projects that we have. I don't know how much we will end up with by 2030, but definitely probably more than 10 gigawatts in overall in actually coming live out of the 50, 60 that we have on paper now, hopefully. Christian, WALDEVAR is again a very successful story. You've become in a matter of years the largest EPC contractor for the renewables market. And not only, of course. Please let us know, tell us more how you've done it, how you see the market, what is needed for these projects that are very well developed, that are very well financed, that have CFD or PPAs. How are we making sure that they are constructed and come into stream on time and on budget?
Thank you very much for the invitation. A pleasure to share the podium with such successful specialists and professionals. It comes naturally that we're speaking at the end, the EPC companies, because we are the last link in the chain, the link that can make or break the project. And what can I add to the excitement and to the interest that was shown by the investors here, so by successful investors here? We clearly saw a shift from ambition, from pipelines to execution. And it's only natural that all this interest and the size of the investment require local partners on the EPC side. And I'm very happy to have been able to grow so much, not only in size, but also in terms of competencies and resources, to be of service of these big projects and to grow together with these ones and to exceed the borders of Romania, again, together with our partners. What we do right now, to put some figures, because you mentioned the level of or the size of the renewable sector in 2030, I think even being pessimistic with all the developments, we are still on the optimistic size of the results. We have right now about 70 gigawatt of grid connection permits, and out of this, only 43 have a grid connection contract signed. Of the 43, and then again, so we have 23 or something of gigawatt that have a building permit, and autorizație de înființare, there are only 11. So we see that with every level of permitting, so we just half or almost half the level. But even so, we speak about right now about 10 gigawatt of PV that is going to happen. We add to that, I believe, somewhere between 5 and 6 gigawatt of storage. That's a lot of work to be done. And again, so there is very important the shift that has been made, as I said, from just putting on the pipelines that 2 years ago were seen as unrealistic, and now we see they are coming to execution, they are coming to fruition. It's very important that this buildability factor of the project is being taken more seriously than it was before. So, and obviously, financing is a huge factor, but you have so there is a big pressure right now on the cost and on the level of execution, on the quality of the execution. And I'm always trying to repeat and to bring into, understanding of all the parties involved that the projects are not being done at the time of the COD. So they just start their life at that point. So the analogy that I'm using with a baby, so it's not like a baby is born, a baby is ready. So baby just starts its life. So we speak about 30 years of life for these projects, which are massive investments. So you want to see return on investment. You have the efficiency is very important. Is important for the investor. Is important for the financing parties, and this is where we, as EPC companies, are doing our best to make this project a success, and to give again figures of what we do right now. Where our growth have brought us in just a few years, we are constantly doubling our numbers, being revenue or profit, or even in the number of the people that are employed and the competencies, the resources. We're right now close to 2,000 people, and the differentiator or the main advantage that we're bringing to the market that we're not dependent on any subcontractors. So we do all this with our own resources, being human resources or equipment, and that ensures large and fast deployment for this kind of project that we hear about. So hundreds of megawatts, 1 gigawatt. There are others as well, so 750. Romania has become home of the largest solar PV projects in Europe, and there are worldwide also not so many to keep pace with us. And I'm happy that not only the size of this project, but also the competencies that it has been shown that Romania is home to know-how, so we can do everything with local resources, know-how, and again, so keep this industry at a high growth pace.
You're right, Romania has done, even in the, if I remember correctly, even in the what we call first wave of renewables 15 years ago, we were home to the largest onshore wind project in Romania, 600 megawatts. And now we have the largest solar, some of the largest wind projects again, and batteries. Again, we have quite massive batteries, and the battery market has moved very, very fast. Last year, we've seen coming live quite a few number of large batteries, quite ahead of the schedule. And I just wanted to ask for you, what are the main challenges that you have encountered and you are encountering in having to face such a fast pace and growth? What did you see as the main challenges, maybe internal or external?
I think the major challenge that we all see is not ours. Is not us. It's impacting us indirectly, not directly. Is a lack of predictability, but this is seems to be getting sorted out now. So in terms of permitting and the access to finance again. So I'm coming back to the buildability. So there is a number of aspects that are being taken into consideration more, and only the projects that are showing viability and the speed of execution are coming to be built in the next period of time. I think that all the challenges are also opportunities, so that gives us an edge on showing that we can do better, faster, at a higher quality. And I think the only thing that's a challenge that it's out of our control and need to involve more the policymakers is the increase of consumption, attracting data centers into Romania, so bringing the big consumers in so that we can build more and make the investments more efficient. So that will bring the energy prices lower. That again will bring an incentive to all other industries to grow and thus make a mechanism work that is right now it's gripped somehow. I feel that it's in a bit of a limbo industry. Not renewables. Renewables are doing very good right now. So after a long time of learning and adjusting, and I think we would need to, take these lessons learned in the renewables and bring it a little bit more into the policy making and deep block the rest of the industry.
Yeah, I think the policy and the legal framework has sort of improved and catered for the needs and the trends, and we very much are committed to this transformation and the reindustrialization that you mentioned, where the price of electricity is key. And not just that, but also the funding that has come through Romania and the region, obviously through various EU facilities, probably helped initially quite a bit for this the engine of development. And on that note, I wanted to ask Adrian, last but not least, another great success of a European company that you co-founded, developer and IPP in Romania and not only. And would like to hear from you again. What were your thoughts and drivers on investing in Romania? What has Romania sort of offered maybe better, faster than other places where you operate? How important were these support schemes, blended finance, the fact that we had recovery and resilience funds or modernization funds, CFDs and all of that? How did they play out in your decisions? Please.
So, thanks a lot for inviting me at this event. I'm more than happy to hear the opinion of my colleagues. I remember that only 10 years ago, when we were speaking about the PV sector, 1 megawatt took us 1 year to execute. And right now, because all of us, we are speaking in numbers just to understand the volume. We as AJ, we are building in this moment only in Romania 1.5 gigawatt of PV and wind under construction. We have 8 substations also under construction. And in Spain, at least the same. And in BESS, we have 1.9 gigawatt hour under construction. So huge volume. But I don't want to speak only about numbers because, okay, everyone is going there because in the final it's a business and we need to go there also. But we was a developer and we know that once you come with a basic idea, with a basic design, you discuss with the authorities, and 2 years they are getting sick because you are going all the time there asking another license, problems and so on. After you have the project RTB, they are expecting the financing and to build. Once you have the containers on site, the site organization, they are asking when you start, when you implicate the local community and so on. So our idea in AJ is not to be the largest EPC or the best, because this is something that it's a must. We need to do the things properly, but it's what we left behind. Because even we start a project and we execute some project that was developed by others, we go and we present ourselves and the whole community have some expectation from our side. So it's normal that the local entities, when you have a project, as Alastair said, hundreds of millions, what you do for the community? Okay, the money will come in our pocket. It's very nice. We mobilize thousands of workers, as my colleagues from WALDEVAR said. It's very nice because we have Romanian companies who can execute this. Because 3 years ago, when we discussed, even with Monson, about this project, we was discussing with the owners and they said, do we have capabilities? Do you know what means these kind of things? Yes, we know because we execute only big project. We have, let's say, big projects come with big challenges and problems. And in the moment that you have 10 projects, as we have in this moment, for instance, you need to have the ability to make mistakes in all of them and to solve them, because problems will come all the time. What we understood is that, okay, even we built the project and the local authority help us, the local entities also, after that we have operation and maintenance, we promise a lot of things. What we did last year, for instance, we spent a few millions also in the ESG part. And this, if you put it in the business plan, it won't be a return of this investment, at least not for the moment. Okay, it won't be for the bank, for the lender, or for the... But in the final, what we had as AJ, we had hundreds of workers in the next project and another hundreds in the next. And also, a few years when we discussed about the workers, and we came with our Romanian workers from Spain to Romania again, because we wanted also person with experience to do the things very fast and quality. Right now, we don't have this problem in the Romanian market. We have workers, we have skills, and we can build whatever project is needed. And this is a very, very good thing for us and for the Romanian entity. But also, what is very important is to move very fast. And we saw 3 years ago what was the capex for 1 megawatt, what is the capex now, what will change from 1 of April, for instance, the capex will be another one with the panels. And also when we are discussing, because we had a phase, we are like a platform, we was a developer, we continue to do development in the construction because we saw a lot of projects, for instance, where the development was very fast, as my colleague said, it's faster, but is not buildable 100%. For instance, one of the things that we find it in all the projects, we have the license to pass with the transformer, but we don't have the license to improve the road. So you cannot pass with a 200 tons transformer there because you won't build a project. Also, we saw a lot of challenges that in the past never happened. Tier 1 manufacturers in the transformers, for instance, high voltage, the best in the world, they didn't pass FAT. And we saw it in at least 5 projects in the last period of time. So you plan very well the things, you think a lot, you want to, I don't know, the clients want to bid the project with 2 or 5 million cheapest, but in the final you lose the connection to the grid to be on time. So what we saw in almost all the projects, you build a PV, it's very fast to build the PV, is not a problem, but in the substation, it's maybe another EPC, so they're not very well connected, and the high voltage will be very late. So what is the cost when you have, I don't know, 300 megawatt without to be, I don't know, on the grid 1 year, because the project will be late 1 year for the FAT or also for the substation. So we need to be very, very fast. We need to, it's very nice because in the Romanian market right now, even before we didn't have the EPC, like with this capacity, the biggest was 80 million invoicing every year, euro. But right now, all of us, we are surpassing, I don't know, this year we will be around 300 million. So it's a very good opportunity for us, very good period of time for all of us. But besides the financing, the part of the money, let's say, we need to think what is behind of this. Because when we go in a small village, we have very simple person, they have some expectation, we need to train them, we need to implicate them, to use them, and in the final, in the ESG part, they will be part of our teams and they will continue with us. This is the success that we want to build, and we want to be one of the best company as human factor, as ethical and as value. Not only because everyone can build something. I don't know, I can put in a PV, a wind farm, and I have something extra. I have a sparkling there, something that, a lot of color. And also, we want to build the things because we saw huge projects in fires with problems and problems in engineering and so on. So you cannot think small in a big project. In a big project, very small detail will affect a lot of millions. So what we are looking in AJ, we are looking for partners, not clients, because it's very hard to work with us, because we will put a lot of problems from the start on the table, and the client will say, oh, a lot of problems. But we say how to solve it also, because we know all the tricks to do it, and we understand many times what is the problem, because, okay, this huge difference in the price, in the, for instance, in the CapEx, what we said, for instance, one project that we had low carbon certificate in the panel, it was 100,000 per megawatt. Right now the price is 145 today. So it's huge, the difference in the price. What we did, when the client communicate with us, we can find a way to solve the things. If I will have an add value, because I will be the EPC, I will put on the equipment 7%. If the client will buy, we won't have this 7%. So maybe we will find a way. It will be a BOS, not an EPC. So it's not about how much I will invoice, it's to be near my client, my partner. Or another thing that we did many times, we solved the issue with the, okay, for instance, what is the loss that the client have? 40,000 per megawatt. I will take this loss on my EPC side. I won't win in the battery storage because you have a win there. I won't win there. I will go only on the cost, but I will be a partner for you. So he will take me in the next project and approach. It's not only about the money, it's about the community and what we build for the future in the final. Because right now, all of us, all the Romanian EPC, I think we have on the table as much as we want. Depending on the appetite, you can take more or less. But in the final, we need to do the things properly and to have a partnership different than the others.
You're right, Adrian. Thank you. That's very thoughtful and interesting experience, I think, that you've shared with us. I think we've been lucky in Romania to have a lot of buy-in from the communities. Generally, we never had huge oppositions, or like we experienced in shale gas 15 years ago, or in other places for other activities in the energy space or in the nuclear. So lucky that we had a general buy-in, but obviously it needs a lot of work on the local level. And yeah, we do have the challenges of long lead items and the technology and procurement. That's a big topic in itself, and maybe we'll touch on it. How do you see this going forward? Because obviously we already depend on a lot of the technologies coming from China. So that's one of the things, especially in the solar and battery part. So I'll just want to make another round of sort of short answers from your end. And again, I'll start with Alexandru, Chiriță. You are one of the largest utility companies in Romania. Obviously, you need to think of the entire chain, the price of the consumer, your building generation capacities, batteries, improving the grid and all of that. I just want to ask, what is your view on the future? How do you see the Romanian future grids and utility space? Whether you see consolidations, how much and how fast. Obviously, the works that the grids are expected to be executed from. Obviously, the TSO they have their own investment program, but also the distribution companies. What's your view on that? Thank you.
I'll put a good side and a bad side. The good side is that we're at 100% investment. The bad side is that we're at 100% investment. Because as I said, we need more. Of course, if we need more, it means increase of tariffs. We understand that at this point, with the energy prices being so high, it may not be possible for the next, let's say, 2 years. But I think after that, things will find their own pace. And there is something that keeps me really optimistic, and that's technology. And I think we are transforming. Electrica used to be an utility company, a simple blue chip stock. and now I think that everybody sees the transformation, sees that it becomes something else. It will become something that I'm not sure what it will be at this point, but with the integration of newer technologies, with the integrations of AI, I think it will become something larger than itself. And we will see so many benefits, and I'm optimistic in general. So I see the future being really bright. Let's say lit by the light that we will provide. And we will see cutting costs, we will see a better society overall, with energy prices coming down, still being very efficient, with all the investments that will be done. The grid will be where it should be. It doesn't, today it seems like the next 10 years, it will just keep up the pace, which is not enough. And we know that is not enough. We will find solutions, I'm sure we will. And I'm sure that things will escalate. So let's say we're at a slower speed now, but we will catch momentum. We will catch more and more opportunities, more and more investments. And at some point, we will catch up with the need of investments. Otherwise, all the works that everybody's doing will make no sense. And we can't let that happen. So we will be sure that we will keep up the pace.
Thank you. Obviously, you'll play a big role in that, and providing space and electricity for the reindustrialization, let's say, efforts that the government is taking. So good luck with all of your ambitious plans. Alastair, looking further, looking in the future, what do you think it needs to happen or to improve in Romania so that you can continue executing what you're set out to do?
What needs to improve? One of the things I think we're all very disappointed with, you mentioned the fact that we got the commercial industrial PPAs, which actually got V4-1 off the ground with 8 international banks. That's got 350 gigawatts of corporate and industrial PPAs, some of which are virtual, some of which are actually in Romania. CFDs, welcome. I don't know how many more pure CFDs there are going to be in Europe, certainly not at the sort of scale to maintain the build-out that I think we all need. So it has got to come back round to industry. And at the moment, industry is struggling to make those sort of long-term commitments which underpin long-term investments. Some of that is just the general macro environment, not just in Central and Southeastern Europe. But I'm hopeful that there will be more interest. A lot of companies have deferred what they were hoping to achieve in 27, 28. They're running out of time. They still have very big commitments for 2030. I'd like to think that we're going through a little bit of a dip in terms of the international appetite for renewables. I think we get a bit of a bad rep at the moment. I do think there's a lot of work coming on about dealing with intermittency, which is obviously the big elephant in the room. Batteries are part of that solution, as are more robust grids, as is hybridization, so that we can actually start making better use of grid access. It is a bit ridiculous that with a PV plant you're only using 25% of the capacity, and that's what's driving the availability of access to the grid. We need incentives really for industry to be able to make those long-term investments. The Greeks a couple of years ago started thinking about an interesting way of doing it, trying to provide a pool, a bit like the CFD, that would actually enable companies to enter into PPAs, which might mean that they can get to far more towards meeting their energy demand. It's on us to actually start providing energy solutions, not just electrons into the grid, and that is the biggest challenge facing IPP. GDPs over the next 2 to 3 years.
Thank you. That you're right. That's the next phase of evolution, and rightly pointed on that. Beyond, as a new market model under the EU framework relies heavily on PPAs and CFDs. On the PPA side, there's already a few countries who have implemented the sort of support guarantee sort of structures under PPAs to enhance more of these, to enable, let's say, more industrial PPAs. And I know that Romania is also early on, though, but we're already thinking of putting that in place. So hopefully that will be another enabler in the coming years. Cătălin, sort of the same question for you. How do you see the trends?
Look, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an investor. We take calculated risks, but I remain optimistic. I very much liked what my colleague said on the PPAs and route to market, etc. Of course, that can be a limitation or a limiting factor. Also liked the idea of creating a virtuous circle. So if there's more consumption of energy, there's more demand of it, and the price comes down. And I think that's probably the virtuous circle that we need to create. And I very much like that idea. I think that Europe is probably 4 years behind the US in terms of data centers, and I know that is a big topic in the next panel. We do see the signs of this happening in Western Europe, or starting, and that we also see the initial impact. I mean, if you see reports by various analysts, including Goldman Sachs, they say that they have started to see consumption growing by 2-3% this year, and they see that maintaining for the next 10 years. So that's massive, because the compounding effect, when you create that extra demand, then there will be ways to also create the supply, because if there is demand for more electricity, there will be ways for the route to market to happen. So in my mind, what do I worry? I think that clearly execution, it's in our control, and I think do we make the projects bankable? Yes. Do we get the financing? Yes. Can we build them on time and on budget? Yes. Are we living in a more dangerous world? Yes. Is it more volatile on the geopolitical front? Yes. I mean, tariffs, new VAT in China, other unexpected things, they do happen. They seem to happen every year now. So. But yeah, I mean that's on my mind. I think what is in our control. I think we again, I'm not worried by Romania being a unbankable country. So yeah, look, I think that Romania on a macro part is I mean, it's been a tough period, but it's coming out of it, and the cost of capital is coming down, which is good. I mean, I'm really awaiting the OECD this year, which will be a very big signal for investors. I'm really excited about that. So I think that things that are in the Romania control, I mean, yes, let's not mess it up. Things that are in our control, I think, are in our control. Again, things that are not in our control, somehow there's always a way to deal with it. Yes. Yes,
you're right. On a more positive note, the OECD joining OECD acceptance, and probably the recent measures that the government announced last week on tax measures to relaunch the industry would potentially yield some results in the next year or two. So the macroeconomics will improve generally. And so, Joel, tell us your views on how do you see the future, and if there's positivity on your side as well, that these numbers that continue to grow in terms of your investments in Romania will keep rising.
I mean, generally, as our mandate, I think we are would be probably the last bank to exit in that sense, and try to be the first one when there's something kind of to demonstrate that things are investable. So I hope that none of these things that you mentioned are going to throw us off. But I think generally, I think we still see continued kind of momentum in the market and expect to be very busy. But obviously, there is always this element of pathfinder, and things keep changing, and we need to find a way and work with our clients and partners to find compromises and ways forward. I think one thing that we see changing is that, I mean, there has been a lot of policy support, also under the CFD, also subsidies, and the kind of EU instruments. We see a bit of a change there that is, until now, the condition was basically, okay, you need to build green projects and then you get support from the EU. That's a bit changing, where the EU is coming and saying, actually, yes, but why are we spending all the subsidized money on foreign manufactured equipment? And so there we expect to be a bit more strings attached to future support. It started with the Net Zero Industry Act, but we saw last year already more signals that this is becoming more of a hot topic. Also, the element that now renewables are so much strategically important in the sector around the other risks that it's created. I mean, you mentioned some intermittency, but then also the things like cybersecurity. And so some of these things are becoming really more kind of prevalent and likely going to be tied to future support around what the EU money is actually going to. So that we expect to be some change. So we still see momentum around policy support for this, but the form of it and the conditions attached may deviate from what we've seen so far. But overall, we still hope that we continue investments and on our side are keen to further support the Romanian sector to invest.
Thank you. You're right. The underlying elements and premises, they keep changing and adapting, and ZIA is one of them, and the niche 2 directive and the cybersecurity and all of these things play a role in the decision-making process. So we all need to, I guess, learn and adapt more on these. And so, Christian, from your end, how do you see the future and the challenges ahead?
A panel I've been in the long period of time, so I'm so happy I'm home. Thank you all. Nobody contradicted us from the auditorium as well, so which is a good sign. No bad looks. But what can we do? So what we can do is to find new ways, because if we stay in the same state, it's probably going to happen the same things. And what we have done in the last period of time was to shift from volumes, which are clearly the new reality, so large projects, and to shift it to intelligent solutions, to extract more value from the projects, bring proprietary solutions like we have done so on SCADA systems, more predictable operations and maintenance, doing everything that we can to bring more intelligence into the industry and make the difference by that. And also what we have also try to do is stay ahead with innovation and identify new sources of energy or new ways to bring more solar into the market. And we have done that by putting a huge focus on the floating PV. we are bringing also a way to be independent from the foreign suppliers, from Chinese mainly, because this is the main threat that we have, that we are too dependent on Chinese, and we speak about energy security, but you cannot be secure when you're dependent all the time. We are building the only floating PV systems factory in Europe, and also the largest, being the, the single one. We have already closed, so this is seems exotic for a lot of people, but it's a very proven concept. We have partnered with Sungrow Floating, which has provided more than 50% or has installed more than 50% of the worldwide capacity at this date, and there are a few gigawatt. The potential is huge. We have closed with Electrica their first pilot project. We are installing now in France another one, so our talks in Poland. It's an untapped resource that we are actively looking to bring into the mix. And by this, there is, apart from all the advantages that is brought, so technical advantages, higher efficiency because of the cooling, and you know, a lot of ecological aspects. I don't want to spend too much time on this one. It's also reducing the pressure from the agricultural fields, because this is again a very hot topic. You see countries like Italy, there is no option now to do utility scale other than agrivoltaics. So this is another way of doing things to improve the existing conditions. I think we can all find in our fields ways to do better and to be a little bit different and bring more efficiency to the table.
Thank you, that's great. Floating PV is indeed an untapped, especially an untapped resource, especially that Romania enjoys so much water resources, water surfaces. Adrian, please, your thoughts on the future and the challenges you see on long lead items, on supply of technologies, on moving into the next phases of your business.
I'm also optimistic, but I want to be also realistic. So the idea is this price that we have right now with the increasing of the tax, it's only for the Romanian market? No. Do you have the possibility to use panel from Europe cheaper? No. So what is the plan B? Because we don't have. And in the past, the price of the panel was almost double than now. Yes, after that. So what is the real cost? That's the question. In the moment that we want to pay the real cost, that will be the moment that we will build. So to be realistic, all of us, in case that, okay, in the panels, for instance, every panel have 10 grams of silver. So you can buy silver and you block the price of the... It's very hard right now, even from manufacturers, to give you a price that will be available after 3 days. So if you want to block, you need to pay. You need the finance, you need equity, you need some skin in the game and to start the project. What will happen after that? It will be cheaper, it will be most expensive. We don't know for sure. But in order to be practical, you need to take the reality from that moment. Okay, you need to have some vision. But we all knew from months ago that this will happen. We were speaking with the investors, and in my view as EPC, it was like my investor will start faster, but he have another fight. It's not only the panel, he have bigger fights too. So we understand them very well, but the reality is that if we want to build a project, that's the real cost. And what happened in China is that the government don't allow them to sell the product without at least the price, the real cost. Under production, you cannot. So they have bank warranties that will be executed in case that we will sell the product under the cost. So we cannot have something in that case. We cannot use magic there. So we will need to take the price that we have on the market in that moment. What is good that, okay, the rest of the equipment, we have availability, because many times we was thinking in the past that we won't have structure, we won't have inverters, we won't have transformer. Where we have another problem, it's in the substation, where you have right now big volumes in Romania, a lot of substations that are built, and you need to, I don't know, 18 months for high voltage substation. So it's a lot of time. But the reality is that, in my view, at least, in Romania, we will continue to build a few years more, not 2 or 3 more, in my view. Because in Spain, for instance, what I'm seeing right now, we was thinking, yes, in Spain, we as AJ, we was building more than 6 gigawatt until this moment, and they are continue. And right now, we are building a project of 700 megawatts, so even bigger and bigger project. What was the PPA? The PPA, it's maximum 40 euro. It's less the price than in Romania, but it's existing PPA, that's true. So you have pluses and minuses, but for sure, we see the things as developers, as construction, as EPC, but the investor have a lot of fights to do. But what we see that in this moment, for instance, this 1.5 gigawatt, all the project that was already started, and even with equipment on the way, the client needed to do a lot of things to accelerate, to put the money, to speed everything, and to be everything in Romania until 1 of April. If not, you pay the tax.
Yeah, so it seems like it's going to be a rush on securing the equipment and the technologies. Yeah, please, do you want to say something?
Well, let's mix it up a bit. If we don't take the Chinese equipment into solar and potentially into wind, the price of energy isn't coming down. There is no significant investment happening in Europe. When I go and talk to the likes of Longi and Trina in China, they turn around to me from the first wave and say, "Why have you never bought from us?" And I said, "You didn't exist when I first made my investments. The companies that did then are no longer here." Siemens exited the inverter space. ABB exited the inverter space. The European companies have not invested in this technology at the rate that they should be able to. We have vacated a market and left it open for somebody else to take it up. We've done it on many things. We're doing it on electric cars now. The only cars you can see on Oxford Street are Chinese. The only phone in your pocket is Chinese. If we're worried about security, we can look at a lot of the other bits of equipment before we start saying we're going to pick on an individual sector, which is absolutely fundamental to the growth of industry in Europe. It would be a massive shot in the foot to sit now. The Chinese have lost a bit of patience. They've reduced their VAT. They are making sure that they're not selling. They're selling short. Prices of panels have gone up 20 to 30% in the last month, in effect, which is impacting investment going forward. So we have to be very careful that we are not maybe propping up monopoly companies in Europe in order to actually remove the competition, which is actually fundamentally bringing down the price of energy. I'm sorry, Joel, but it would be we've 2-3 years ago with only one European manufacturer of wind really that was investable. They have the prices of turbines went through the roof. A PPA at that time was about 80 euros in order to fund V42. The CFDs were let at 65, 67. And if that wishes to continue, then the European manufacturers have to be competitive, and B, there's got to be competition in the market. And actually, it's made in China anyway. And all of the components that go in my Vestas turbine, which is built in China, are Chinese. So let's be careful where we decide to point our finger, or we are going to shoot ourselves. The Americans have their solution with the NRA, as it was, and they have factories, Chinese companies with factories in America. They do not have access to the latest innovations and efficiencies. They are taking the last generation of TopCon, and they are being built for 4 years in a factory, no innovation, nothing else. When it's finished, it's pre-sold before they do it. The moment, if we want to get back contact and get 28, 29% efficiency, that investment, that innovation is not happening in Europe and elsewhere. So we've just got to be a bit careful that we don't shoot ourselves in the foot.
Right. I guess on that end, with the whole of Europe, we jumped on a train, and that train is going, and we have to do what we need to do. And there's no near-term solution to drastically change the sources of technology. Yeah, there's still a chance that we will build in Europe this manufacturing capabilities. And I won't take more time. Sorry, we've gone a bit over, but thank you very much for our great panelists. Please give them a round of applause, and thank you.